Hey guys, Jesse here. Just wanted to talk about some things like I usually do. Two things. One, I'm going to talk about some Watt stuff, and I'm going to talk about changes to Final Countdown. So let's start with Watt shenanigans. I've been seeing a lot of builds lately and getting a lot of questions. I don't know why people prefer to personally message me instead of comment on the videos. I'd appreciate it is if you had any message or a suggestion, if you would comment instead, because then you can get a kind of collaboration going in the comment area. But anyway, I've been seeing builds with only one Watt Giraffe or only one or two Watt Dragonfly and using something like Shining Angel or Thunder Kings. People are using like Watt Cube and running like 3 Watt cancels and Watt Pheasant. Now here's the thing. We'll start with Watt Pheasant. Watt Pheasant, I don't have him on right now, but Watt Pheasant is a really good card. He can attack directly and remove from play 1 monster on the field until the end phase. That's good for a couple reasons. One, you can temporarily remove a Thunder King so that you can attack directly with Cobra and get a search. You can move a monster out of your way so you can attack directly with another monster that's not a Watt, like Stardust or something. And it's good because it kills Exceeds. You can remove Zen mains, and then when it comes back, it has no materials, it's just the vanilla. Here's what's wrong with Pheasant and why you should not run Pheasant anymore. It's because removing Exceed materials does not matter in Watts. Because even if Zen mains did not have its materials, who cares? Zen mains is a threat to decks that need to run over monsters to get to your opponent's life points. And Watts do not need to do that. Watt's win condition is attacking directly. So you don't need, it doesn't matter if Zen mains or Leviathan or Leviair are on the field, because you're not going to be attacking those monsters. You're going to be going over the monsters entirely. So usually it's a waste of your opponent's resources to get Zen mains because you're never going to touch it. It doesn't matter. And even if you got rid of Zen mains materials, it can still turn its 1500 attack. It can still turn itself towards you and punch all your Watts in the face, because all the Watts are clearly under 1500. I mean, Giraffe's the strongest one that's non-synchro, and he's only 1200. And he gets run over by all of those Exceed monsters, regardless of whether they have materials or not. So Pheasant is just not a good idea right now. It doesn't matter if you take out the materials. It's not going to help much. It's better to run your Cobras to get your searches and thin your deck, and your Giraffes to beat down and have a negation-free main phase 2. That is more important than removing a monster with Pheasant, and that's why I would not run it at all. And I've been playing with Watts for a while and only using the 3 Giraffes and 3 Cobras, and that is plenty. As long as you get that attack in every turn, you're totally fine. Usually it takes me less than 5 or 6 turns to win, and that's it. So you don't need Pheasant at all. And then I've seen people using things like Shining Angel and everything like that. Shining Angel is a bad recruiter for Watts because it's just because your opponent has to run it over, and that's just not good enough right now, especially because this is a popping format. You get Hyperion, Scrap Dragon, Inzectors, you're just going to pop your Shining Angel, and you're not going to get your search, and that sucks. And there's really nothing that you can do about it. But you can use Watt Dragonfly instead. He's much better. I've talked about this before. He serves the same purpose, but he can special by being destroyed in any way, and he does not have to hit the graveyard. You can play macro and still get your search with Dragonfly, and you can special in any position. So this is much better than Shining Angel. And you do need 3, if you're going to run Watts, you have to run 3 of each Watt. You need 3 Dragonflies, your recruiter, to get your Watts to the field. He's kind of like a I will get a Watt, basically, if I set or summon this, because, Torrential, Mirror Force, yada, yada, yada. It gets destroyed, Scrap Dragon, pop, you'll get a Watt. So it's awesome. You do need 3 Cobras. This guy is essential. You need to thin your deck as much as possible, and that's why it's not a good idea to play Thunder Kings, because you can't thin your deck. If you have your own Thunder King, will slow you down, and it sucks to draw. Well, drawing Watts is bad. A monster heavy hand is really bad. It's not a good idea at all. And then finally, you need Giraffe, because Giraffe is your beat stick. Giraffe's 1,200 into your opponent every turn. That's a lot of life points to get in every turn at 1,200. Especially you usually have these guys, that's 2,200 every turn. That's awesome. And it's great, and that's what you should be doing, is attacking with these guys every turn as often as you can. And this Giraffe's effect is broke. I mean, you can attack and then heavy your opponent's entire back row. You can attack and Dark Hole of Stardust. You can do whatever the heck you want main phase 2, and your opponent can't. You can exceed for Utopia, and your opponent cannot. Warning, you can do a lot of stuff with it. This guy's effect is amazing. Speaking of monsters, well, I'll talk about one more card. The only, out of these 3 Watts, I recommend not running any other Watts. None of them. They're all terrible, to be honest. Like, they are not worth running at all. Okay? But if you have the means to get certain synchros like Bryonic or Gaia Knight, Watt Chimera, I do recommend running 1 Watt Fox. Now, Watt Fox effect sucks. It's pretty crappy. It's better than all the other Watt tuners, but really it's kind of bad. But the whole reason you run a Watt tuner is because you can search it with Cobra, and that is awesome. There are not a lot of archetypes where you can just search for your tuner from the deck. The only ones I can think of are Tuning for Junk Doppel and Black Whirlwind for Black Wings. And Scraps. Scraps have Scrapyard. Other than that, there's not really a lot of things that allow you to search for tuners, but Watts do. Watts, you can attack directly, boom, you can grab Watt Fox, summon it next turn, synchro for whatever you need. Especially if you get that attack in with Giraffe, you can summon this, synchro, they can't warning, and then you can bounce something with Brio, or you can banish something with Orient Dragon. It's really awesome, and your opponent can't do anything about it because you got that poke in with Giraffe. So this is amazing. I do love the 1 searchable tuner, even though he kind of sucks as a monster. But out of those Watt monsters, I recommend not running any other Watt monsters. Another thing is you should definitely be running Sangan. If you're not maining macro, you should be using Sangan, because Sangan searches all your monsters. It basically kind of speeds up your deck because you need monsters as fast as possible. Another thing, speaking of monsters, is in Watts, you need to run a low monster count. If you have too many monsters, the Watts cannot protect themselves inherently, and they're not nutty. You know, you can't special summon themselves like in Fables or Infernities. You can't, it's not Speed Synchro or Speed Exceed. Just nothing like that. They all have aggressive trigger effects that happen when they're destroyed or when they attack directly, and that's it. Otherwise, they're just a bunch of weenie monsters, and if you don't draw spells and traps to protect them, you're screwed. So please run a low monster count. You need that, I would say 15 or less monsters is what I highly recommend. And then I come to support. The only good Watt support you should be running are these 2. Recycling Batteries and Watt Cancel. Recycling Batteries is awesome to get the +1, and it's also a good idea because I really like it, because sometimes if you don't have Monster Born, then there is no other way to get a Watt out of the graveyard, and Recycling Batteries facilitates that for you. And it gives you the +1, you get your Watt monsters back. If you have this, you can burn a warning and then grab it and summon it again. Watt Cancel. Watt Cancel is really good, but it does have quite a drawback of ditching a Watt. It's bad because if you run a low monster count, which you should be doing, you ditch the monster that you searched for with Cobra, or your only monster in your hand. Even though you stopped at Caius or something, it still kind of sucks to lose the monster. So I would not run more than 1, because warnings are still better. I would not run more than 1 because you don't want to lose your hand advantage. So that's it. That's my rant for the Watts. Please, low monster count. No Pheasant. He's not good right now. Okay, Pheasant isn't going to do anything. They're just going to get Zenmain's in attack position and attack your Pheasant, and removing its materials didn't help anything. So that's what I highly recommend. Please do that. One more thing here. I changed Final Countdown. This is heading towards 10 minutes. I don't want to make another 20-minute video. Basically, what I did was, these are the changes I made. I took out Marshmallow. I took out Spirit Reaper, and I took out Swords. And I took out one Deslakuta. Now, the problem with these cards, even though they're very good, as I mentioned, this is a popping format, and these can all be popped. And then you get punched in your face. Marshmallow has a trigger effect that can be chained to Chariot or Herald of Orange Light. That sucks. That's why he's out of there. Spirit Reaper can be lanced. Enemy controller, mind control gets rid of it. That sucks. And also Piercing really hurts too. So that's gone. Also, Scrap Dragon owns its face. Swords, MST, freaking Hornet, yada yada yada. Pop, pop, pop. And Deslakuta. I ran 3 Deslakutas, and you know what? 3 is too many. You don't need 3. Either I really need to flip him, or I really just want him gone. Sometimes he just sits in the field, and it sucks. Sometimes I have so much advantage in my hand that I have to start ditching cards if I were to flip him face up. So 2 is plenty. There is plenty of other hate in the deck. I don't need him anymore. Also, I took out 1 Final Countdown. The reason is because you don't really need 3. Nobody runs Dark Bribes, really. None of the meta stuff needs Dark Bribes. There's always only the 1 Solemn Judgment they have to worry about, and that's it. Other than that, the 2 Final Countdowns are plenty. So that's 5 cards that I removed. Basically, I wanted to take out the stuff that would sit there in the field and be able to get popped by Scrap Dragon, Hyperion, Dragonfly, yada yada yada. What I added in the deck was I added 1 Wattlemur. Here's why I like Wattlemur. Wattlemur effect reads, if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect, they cannot conduct their battle phase during their next turn. Here's why that's great. Usually what you do is you set this guy, and then you set a Threatening Roar. And so at the top of your opponent's turn, if they try to MST, you chain Threatening Roar, or when they try to enter their battle phase, and then what happens is they might get Scrap Dragon or Hyperion and destroy this, and then next turn, Threatening protected you for that turn, and then now your opponent's next turn they cannot conduct their battle phase. So now you got 2 free turns, or you got 4 turns for Final Countdown that you'll be totally safe, and it's awesome. So this is a great tech. I think shout out to my teammate Justin who gave me this idea. And then here's what I also put in. I put in 2 Gold Sarcophagus. Running Gold Sarcophagus is awesome because basically it gives you 4 chances to be able to get and activate Final Countdown, because I only run 2 and now I have the Gold Sarks. So if I get Gold Sark before I get Final Countdown, boom, I can get Final Countdown in 2 turns. If I already played Final Countdown, now I only have 1 dead in the deck, and I can search for whatever I need with Gold Sarcophagus. Such as, if they use warnings already, I can get Battle Fader, I can get 1 Day of Peace, I can get Grand Mole to bounce an Exceed or a Synchro I don't like. So this has been working very well with the Gold Sarks. And then 2 more cards that I added, because that's 3 and I took out 5. I don't have the card with me yet. It's called Frozen Soul. Shout out again to my teammate Justin who thought of this totally random card. I had no idea it existed. Frozen Soul reads, it's a trap card. I put in 2. It reads that you can only activate this card if your life points are 2,000 or less than your opponent's. Your opponent skips their next battle phase. That's awesome because your life points are almost always at least 2,000 less than your opponent because you activated Final Countdown. Plus you have upstarts, so that's awesome. You can just skip their next battle. It's like another Threatening Roar or Thunder of Ruler, and basically it makes the deck more chainable, and there's going to be much less things that are committed to the field. And that's totally improved the deck so much more. I hate drawing a 3rd or 2nd Deslakuta when I don't need it and it gets popped. I hate, Spirit Reaper is not dependable anymore, and neither is Marshmallow or Swords, so those are gone. And it makes the deck a lot more consistent, a lot almost purely chainable, except for 2 Deslakutas and Grand Mole, which doesn't stay on the field anyway. The entire deck is chainable and activated, and I commit almost nothing to the field. So it's fantastic. It's been working so well. It's much, much better. Also, a side card I've been thinking about is Soul Taker. Instead of Smashing Ground, or something like Hammer Shot. Uh, Soul Taker reads, if you didn't know, destroy one face-up monster your opponent controls, then your opponent gains 1,000 life points. This is awesome, even though it targets, it's awesome because I can pick the monster that I want to destroy, and the life point gain to my opponent is irrelevant because my win condition does not involve life points whatsoever. So I'm thinking about running 3 of these instead of the 3 Smashing Grounds. Because Smashing Ground, I might not be able to get rid of the monster I need to because there might be another monster with higher defense. So I get to pick the monster with this card. It's awesome. That's all I had for today. I've been working on Final Countdown, and I just wanted to, give you guys some more advice about Watts. Low monster count, no pheasant. It's not good right now. You need to run the 9 Wogs, 3 Dragonfly, 3 Cobra, 3 Giraffe. They're your engine. And, run low Watt support. Just 1 cancel, 1 recycling batteries. And that's the update that I had for Final Countdown. So thank you for watching, and more videos coming to you guys soon.